Hi everybody, it's Gene Simmons, and you're not. This is Kiss My Collectibles podcast. Don't you do that.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Kiss My Collectibles. I am one of your co-hosts, Jason Herndon, and with me, as always, is...
the President of the United States.
Wow! President! What do you mean you don't agree with me? Do you know who you're dealing with?
According to
some of our beloved watchers and listeners out there. Yeah, or at least I should be. So I'm for that. Joe Lalich.
90s rock group, the Presidents of the United States of America. Millions of peaches for free.
That's right. She's lump.
She's in my head. She's lump, since she might be dead.
Yeah.
Yes.
She is lump.
Nicholas Buckley.
Yes.
Yes.
What?
That is me.
Yeah.
So, welcome to the show, everyone. This week, we are going to tackle tour books, but not in the way that we've done in the past. We're going to do the top 5 essential tour books. We're going to list individually these essentials episodes. We're going to list individually what each one of us think are the essential tour books, and then try to come to a consensus at the end. And then you all are going to post your rebuttals wherever you're watching this. So we'll get to all that later, right?
Yeah.
These guys
Save
are...
your rebuttals to the end.
Yeah, please save your rebuttals. Yeah.
Show us your rebuttals.
Right.
Yeah.
Hold your applause until the
That's right. All right. So anyway, all of the normal stuff. Join us on Facebook in the Kiss My Collectibles groups, Kiss My Wax groups, blah, blah, blah. Subscribe to our YouTube. Yada, yada, yada.
I met this lawyer. We went out to dinner. I had the lobster bisque. We went back to my place. Yada, yada, yada. I never heard from him again.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click like on this episode. Share it. Do all that stuff. Follow us on Instagram at Kiss My Collectibles or on Twitter at KM Collectibles. Subscribe to our Patreon. And head over to Click T Shop to buy some Kiss My Collectibles or Kiss My Wax t-shirts or whatever you want. So, hey, our plugs are getting quicker and quicker. So,
and vote for me early and often.
Vote for Joe. November.
That's right. It's right around the corner.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Are we? What, Jason? Were you going to say something?
I was just going to say, do we want to give an ACE update or?
Let's do it. We're really picking up some momentum now with getting everything across the finish line. We've got everything short of one component is off to the printer. We should be getting test pressings this week,
they're
maybe early.
As we're recording, they're supposed to be sending them. Rainbow is supposed to be sending them to us this week. So I don't know if that means we'll get them this week's coming from California. So we'll get them or we'll get them next week. But when we do, we're gonna post photos of them and in the groups so they can so people can check them out.
Or if this podcast is not edited by this time, we'll put it up right now. Of course, if we don't, then I'll look like an idiot just pointing at nothing. so I'm the one who's gonna look like an idiot there. So it doesn't
and you're gonna look like an HD idiot because your internet this week is it's fantastic. It's delicious.
Knock on wood. Please don't jinx us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your hair looks amazing too. I just wanted to.
It does. This is a HD wig, so it's 4K this week.
That's right.
You should stand up and show your shirt. I love that shirt.
I do too. It's great.
Kyle and Stan and Paul and George.
That's Jorge to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
It's a
cool.
great
Should have
shirt.
won that to meet them, yeah.
So,
So,
anyway,
test
back to the-
pressings, jackets going to Ace imminently, right? Those are
Yep.
in
Jack-
transit any day here.
Yep, heading to Ace as the week that we're recording this, which is on a Tuesday night, Wednesday afternoon for Nicholas. They're supposed to be getting to Ace at his Dallas hotel, meeting him on tour this coming Friday. He'll be signing them and then sending them off to our printer and shipper. The download cards are there, and we're just gonna. Our printer is also our shipper. He's going to be putting all those components together, shrinking, and sticking them in boxes and shipping them out. We are doing our best to meet that end of November shipping timeline that we gave out. As long as there are no hiccups in the road now, we should be pretty close.
Yeah, it's looking really good.
Yeah, it's looking good. So we're about 3 weeks out now, and we're looking pretty good. So as long as there's, like, if we get the test pressings and they're completely wrong or something like that, now that'll throw a hiccup because we'll have to go back and say, you've got to change something. Hopefully that won't be the case. Rainbow's a wonderful pressing plant, and I hate that they're going out of business after 80 years.
It's horrible
Stupid
that they're
business.
and
Stupid.
but it's very cool that we were able to get in under the wire and get amongst the records that were being pressed and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
that was
in
cool.
fact, I think we're probably the last project that E1 was able to get pressed at Rainbow. So, or one of,
That was a rent raise issue, wasn't it?
That was, yes.
It's the amount of businesses in the modern era that I hear when they say, "Oh, why did you close the store?" and they get the owners raise the rent, or and it puts them out of business because they can't make a profit anymore. It's very sad.
I think it may be a little deeper than that. I think the owner of the building and the property actually wanted to sell it to develop it
For the property,
is wanting to raise the rent so exponentially that it made they had no choice. And then the other side of that was it was going to cost way too much to relocate into a new building. And it's very expensive because my company did it 3 years ago to move an entire pressing plant to a new building. It's very, very expensive process and undertaking. So they just said, we're just going to shut the doors, and that's too bad. So
Rainbow's been around for what, 80 years?
80 years. Yep. 80
I mean,
years.
see, things like that. There was a record store in New York when I lived in New York that was my favorite, Bleecker Street Records, which now tragically is a Starbucks. I didn't have anything wrong. I don't hate. I'm not a Starbucks hater or any one of these people who says, that whatever, do your thing. But I just feel like there has to be some kind of historical value given to these places that have been around, and they're institutions, and they shouldn't just be swept aside into the ash heap of history just because of rent increases. And then the only places who can afford them are Walmart or Google or Starbucks, and then we're going to be all Walmart, Google, and Starbucks, and that's all there's going to be left. And it's tragic when both big and small businesses have to close who have been around for years just because of rent increases. So
I agree. That's something I'm very passionate about, coming from, and Joe is now in it, from the mom and pop independent record store business my entire life. And now working for a much smaller distributor now, also fighting against these giant mammoth distribution companies. It's tough out there when someone has all of the resources and all the money to compete with them in any way. Look at everybody that's been shut down by Amazon. And I love Amazon. I shop on Amazon, not for everything, but just look at all the businesses that have been shut down because of that. So anyway, we're way off the rails.
It's a changing economy.
Yep, it is. So, and the last plug before we move on to new stuff is hottestbrandbook.com. Nicholas's and Joe's, or Nicholas's book and Joe's a helper, and whatever you want to say. I never know how to talk about it, but anyway,
I'm Daddy's little helper.
That's right. 73.
Depends if we're on air or not. If something goes wrong, Joe always jokes. If something goes wrong, I go, "Oh man, there's something that's gone wrong with our book." And
Our
if someone
book.
goes, "You did a great book." I go, "Yeah, I did it all by myself."
Yeah, right. We're having horrible shipping problems. Somebody help us.
Someone's gonna have to share the cost of this replacement book.
Yeah.
Joe?
Yeah, right. Call Joe.
So
Yeah.
So if you're watching this
we had a good
podcast,
laugh. We had a good laugh about that this week. It was pretty funny.
so if you're watching this podcast, you clearly care about Kiss collectibles, and this book is has every single purchasable Kiss collectible from 73 to 83 in the Accorn years. Sounds interesting, doesn't it?
I'd like to have that book. Nicholas,
So anyway.
is there any chance I can get a copy? Can you send me one from our American distributor?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You son of a
Yeah, pleasure. Yeah.
So you could pick that up at hottestbrandbook.com for $99. Do that today.
Just real quick on that, somebody was flipping. I have a copy up at the store, and somebody was flipping through it the other day, and it's interesting. It's been a little while now since I've looked at it, and we're not in the, in the dire straits of trying to put that thing together and get it printed and shipped, and hurricanes and and all the other LA and legs of tours. So I kind of was able to look at it with fresh eyes, and I'm pretty proud of it. It looks pretty cool, and I think it's a fun piece to be able to go back and look at. Sometimes you work on these projects for so long, and you're like, oh man, I never want to see that again, or I'm fatigued. But yeah, I was happy with looking through it again the other day. There's a couple of pages. There's a couple of pages.
I'm fatigued, but yeah, I'm still a bit fatigued. I can't go and sit down and read it like it's a book on Kiss. If I flip through, I go, oh, that turned out really well, and I'm glad everyone's happy with. But I'm still not at a point where it's on the shelf over there, but I haven't actually sat down on a lounge and started thumbing through like a book yet.
That's because
every day for 3 or 4 hours, Yeah.
And you get the agita when you start to look through that book. You get all like, "Oh God, are the periods and commas in the right place, and is everything capitalized
exactly.
right?" You don't want to find an error. So
yeah, exactly.
Hottestbrandbook.com. Check it out. Great Christmas gift.
Yeah, and if you don't want to buy all of this crap now, it's a wonderful book to have to just feel like you can look at all of it anyway. So you don't have to go out and spend $1,500 for a piece of plastic with the Kiss logo on it.
Or a piece of wood, painted wood.
Painted black.
With a decal on the side of it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, all right.
That thing's so bad.
New stuff. Do you have any new stuff, Nicholas?
Wait.
Well,
what's in the...
No.
Oh, no?
I was just making sure Nicholas had something to show. Do you have anything to show?
No, I think he was waiting for us to put our intro in here.
I know. I know exactly what he was doing.
Shut up. What's in the box?
What's in the box? Yeah.
What's in the box? Yes, exactly.
I'm gonna open it.
Oh, what's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
Well, actually, I didn't really get. Well, there's a little bit of a drama this week. I received a double platinum photo set from a really nice guy on our page called Rene, and he actually flagged it before he sent it to me. He said to me, "I think these might be faked, and these might be bootleg counterfeit versions of this photo set, but I can't tell. So how about I send it to you, and if it turns out to be fake, I'll refund your postage to you." So I said, send it to me, and I looked at it, and they were all re-scanned in, and then he refunded it pretty much within 2 or 3 minutes later after contacting him. So a great guy for actually flagging that to begin with. But I thought, I may as well pay for the postage and get them sent to me and see if they were the original double platinum photo set. But unfortunately, no. We'll show them up here what they look like, what they're supposed to look like. Mine, you could tell they've been through a scanner and they're all out of focus. And they were that super shiny kind of fake photo paper now that you get. So, yeah, unfortunate.
It's the worst thing about those promo photos, man, is they're one of the easiest things to reproduce. And I don't even know. You probably can't even hardly find real ones out there, especially in the eBay world, because there's so many reproductions, counterfeits of them. It's
But the
unbelievable.
big problem is when you receive them, and as Joe will know, you know instantly they're fakes. You can tell by
Yeah.
the shininess. You can tell
Of
by you know
course.
instantly. The problem is
What do they
when
smell
you're
like?
buying them, you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
But when you're buying them, like they're actually a real one because I've got a couple in the Kiss Army kits, and it's more of a cardboardy kind of feel, and they are glossy, but they're not super glossy, and you know
Right.
they're probably almost a bit of a matte sheen, but they're not totally. But yeah, these were like full on, yeah, super ultra shiny photograph. They're absolutely terrible, but yeah.
Right.
So that was a bit of a disappointment because I've been chasing that for a while. So anyway,
Yeah.
yes.
There was a guy that posted, I don't know, it was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. He posted in the group, I don't know, 4 or 5 items, and one of the items was that double platinum set, and I think he was selling them for like $30 or something like that. And I sent him a message and I said, "Are these reprints or are they original?" And he came right back and he said, "They're definitely original. They came in my Kiss Army kit when I was a kid." And I was like, "Great, I'll take them." And he said, "Sorry, somebody just bought the whole lot of everything that he had posted."
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh no!" So as I was thinking, $30 for a real set, you know?
Wow.
Mm.
Well, too bad.
That's good.
Mm.
All right.
So that's a no-go for you, Nicholas. You just had a
Yeah.
sob story. Jason, you have anything
Yeah.
this week?
I did get a couple of things in, and I'll go ahead and show them. I'll actually go ahead and open them up. I received the 30th anniversary colored vinyl of Hot in the Shade, and from Sound of Vinyl, and the 45th anniversary of Hotter Than Hell from Sound of Vinyl on colored vinyl. And I'll just pop these open because I've had them sitting here all week, or for the last week. Son of a...
What's in the box? It's Jason's severed finger.
So, what's interesting about these is, and you know, we've talked about it in the groups and stuff, is for the most part on these color vinyl reissues, they're kind of done on the cheap, and they're reusing as for the records that are still in print, because most of the 2014s are still in print. What they'll do is they'll take the excess jackets and they'll stick a limited edition barcode sticker on it. And but this jacket still says 2014. The label still says 2014. It's just pressed on colored vinyl. Now, Hot in the Shade 2014 is out of print. Because of that, there are no more jackets. And so down here, it actually has an entire new barcode. So this barcode is completely different than the 2014, and it actually has the legal line updated here where it says 2019 and not 2014.
No kidding.
And the same with the labels. So, but
Do we know officially, Jason, what... I know we thought at one point that the Peter solo record that I loved, I loved. And
I know the whole deal on that.
yeah, do we know what for sure is out of print and dead?
Paul and Peter were both 100% officially out of print. And then about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months, month and a half, my company, which is a distribution company for vinyl, got notice from Universal that they were reactivating them. So they have done another run on them. And what's interesting about that, where that fits in with what I was talking about as far as the dates here go, all of the other colored vinyl has reused 2014 jackets, except for Hot in the Shade and the solo albums. If you got the solo album box set, colored vinyl box set, you'll notice that the entire, all of the covers are completely new. They're, 2019 or 18, I can't remember when it came out. And it's actually got, what is that called when it has the sticker on the back?
Tip-on jacket.
Tip-on jacket, right. It has, they're tip-on jackets, so they're
the way that the old school, for those of you who don't know, the way that the old school sleeves and jackets were put together was a different construction. And they would actually use almost a sticker or adhere paper to the back of cardboard, and that was called, they were tipping paper on. It's a printing term. So
right. In fact, you can find there are some versions of the first album, First Kiss album, that have tip-on jackets. So anyway, the box set has those new jackets in it, and my professional guess for the reason that is because at the time that came out, Peter and Paul were out of print, and they didn't have any 2014 jackets, so they probably just did a whole run of jackets to make them match,
make them all consistent, because they didn't want Paul and Peter's to feel different from a substrate standpoint.
Exactly, because the Gene and Aces were still available and are still available. So anyway, those records did come back into print, and we did receive stock on them. Where that is also interesting to me is I would really like to order another copy now of Peter and Paul.
Yeah.
To
see if they're 19s.
It says 2019 on the back of it, because I think that would be a pretty cool variant. So anyway, so let's go on with these. So what's cool about these is get off there. It's a translucent blue. I mean, it's really, really nice looking, and yeah, boy, I like that. And it does say 2019 UMG recordings on the label.
On the label, yeah.
This is a different.
See, I would have liked them to have done a more sky blue to match the cover.
Yeah,
a bit better.
yeah.
To me, that dark blue doesn't really match the theme as much.
I can certainly see that.
It looks good, but I'm probably being picky, But yeah, like I would have thought it would match that sky blue a bit better.
We had this discussion on the Kiss My Wax that Dave Scott was on, the last one that we did, about the problematic nature of doing a colored vinyl for all of these, and what color do you pick, and what if another record's predominantly sky blue or another one's predominantly orange, and this one it's a problematic thing.
It is, and we're actually going to kind of run into it right now, where we had already had a ow. I got a
paper cut.
I did, yeah.
What's in the box?
We already had an orange Rock and Roll Over.
Yep.
And then now we get a, God, that is gorgeous too. It's almost identical though. The orange creamsicle, hotter than hell, translucent. Boy, it looks good though. So, and these are 180 grams. And of course, this label, like I said, does say 2014 on it. Mm-hmm. So.
I'm not a huge fan of the hype sticker. That's the one. And I know Dave Scott mentioned that they were actually kind of generic they're not specifically Kiss ones, and they could just drop in the number, on those ones. I'm not a big fan of the graphic design of those hype stickers.
Yeah.
They're all right. But there's something about them that's a bit dorky kind of thing.
Well, again, this is just, people talk about Kiss and cash grabs. This isn't a Kiss cash grab. This is clearly a Universal cash grab. And the sound of vinyl is really just a cash grab, because that's about all they do is do, extra printings, different color vinyl, and people eat it up. And I buy them. I love them. I think they look great.
Did you get one copy, Jason, or two?
I did only get one copy each.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting out of hand with that buying two of everything.
I didn't buy those at all. As much of a vinyl guy as I am, I don't know. I guess I'm getting a little bit of that fatigue setting in with some of this new stuff that's not materially new, and I'm not so slavish to. I have to have every printing of every label of every. And if I don't have it, I'm gonna.
I'm not that way. I'm not that way
either.
Or anything, but if
there's,
are you there, Joe?
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello.
Okay, it was cut again. Did that cut out for you, Nicholas?
A little bit. It's fun.
Yeah, it sounded like a connection cut out.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Anyway, I'm not that way either, Joe. I don't have to have every minor label variation or anything, but when it's significantly different, where the vinyl color is different, I feel like I have to have it.
Yeah.
It's a sickness.
Yeah. See, and I did get the Rock and Roll Over, and I got, what was the other one? Was there another one?
Yeah, there's a Dynasty. There's Destroyer.
I got the Dynasty. Destroyer I did not get.
That's the one that's tough to find now.
It's
Was
red.
it Rock and Roll Over?
It's red, yeah.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll Over.
Yeah, Rock and Roll Over. I
Hotter
got
Than Hell, Hot in the Shade, the solo albums.
in the box.
In the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? The solo albums.
That's
Peter
right.
Criss.
Yeah, that's right.
Peter Criss is in the box.
And I'm totally nonplussed by Peter's record.
So it'll be interesting to see what comes. I I would imagine they would do the whole catalog. There would be no reason not to, or most of it anyway. So we'll see.
Got it.
All right, Joe.
All right, so this week, just real quick, I've got a French Vogue copy of Destroyer here. You can see the hype sticker.
Super shiny.
Is that
Yeah.
a
Super
high gloss
shiny
cover?
cover.
Yeah, it's
high
super. Super shiny. So what's cool about this one? I can show the label real quick. This one.
See, I can see the gay porn reflected back into the cover there.
Funny guy, Nicholas Buckland. He'll be here all week. So there's the label on that one. So 1977 release, and it comes with what they call a transfer. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming this is it's an iron-on transfer. This came in the first 6 records up through
6 or 7.
Yeah, somewhere around there. But what's weird is it's the same transfer in all of them. They didn't do the album cover. It's all the Destroyer transfer in each one, and those are becoming exceedingly hard to find.
They are tough to find.
You'll find Vogue pressings. You'll find, there's a couple of different versions of a lot of those records, those Vogue pressings. But yeah, you'll get to have the transfer in that is tough. So yeah, I was happy to get that. It's hard to get a set of those. Very, very tough.
It's great. So are you looking for a set of those? Do you want to find a set of those?
Well, yeah, sure, but yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not if I'm not on the hunt. Let's put it that way. If I find one and it's out there and it's reasonable, I'll get it. Just because it's again, it's that rarity factor that I'm always looking for with the transfer. So yeah, it's something I'd pick up if it were around, but I'm not dying to have it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Do you guys have anything right now that you're dying to have that's on your list? Is there anything that's burning a hole in your soul? What, Jason?
Everything is burning a hole in my soul.
I love Kiss. I love every song. I love every record, and I love every piece of merchandise. Amen.
Do you really love the lamp, or are you just saying it because you saw it?
I love lamp. I love lamp.
There's some truth in that.
Director. Write my own songs, play my own songs.
Exactly.
No, I mean, I really, I'll always desperately want a pinball machine.
Yeah.
I desperately want a sealed remote control van, either version.
Yeah.
Those are the two things that I really want.
Anything for you, Nicholas, at the moment that's just...
It's just it's all even though the whole whatever remains is
whatever
that
the
needs
next
to be
thing is,
collectors. Yeah, I mean obviously the pinball machine will still always haunt me, so I think I'll always want that one. But yeah,
don't you have a perfect place for that now? You have a perfect room for that now.
I mean, look at this.
Yeah,
look at this emptiness here. Yeah,
it's perfect.
I have a perfect room.
Yeah.
We weren't talking to you,
You got
Jason.
a perfect.
Look at that perfect room you have there, Nicholas.
And you got to have floor space for that.
Yeah.
No, that's it. Yeah.
All right, tour books.
Tour books. Top 5
essential.
Essential tour go. Yeah, do it. You say it.
Queen tour books.
Yeah, top 5 essential Queen tour books.
Look at Nicholas. He got a little twinkle in his eye. Like, yes.
Oh, finally, something I like.
No, right. Yeah, finally a band I can
get behind.
I don't like this band. What am I doing here?
Yeah. I've sold the book now. I've milked them all.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
That's awful.
Oh, no.
All right, so how are we going to do this thing? Start at number 5.
Round table, each one. Are you doing yours in order?
Yeah, I'll do them in order.
Okay.
Nicholas, you doing yours in order?
Who wants to go first?
No. I'm just doing, I've got random and they're not all as vintage as you think they are, so yeah.
Well, what's funny is I went through and I just riffled through my tour book collection. I have a pretty decent collection. I have most one copy of almost all of them, I think. And so I just quickly riffled through, and anything that kind of moved me, I grabbed. And now I have kind of a stack of more than 5 here. So it's going to be kind of a wild card as I draw from the stack which one I'm gonna grab first. So.
And I think we're going to double up on some. I saw when you put it down that almost everyone has very similar ones, but yeah, hopefully we've got a few that we don't have that will. Yeah.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have my top 7.
I've got
So I
1,
have to
2,
narrow it
3,
down.
4, 5, 6,
You won't get a
7.
chance to show
I've got 7 also. Yeah.
I gotta cut them down.
Aren't you famous for that though, Jason? Jason Herndon's top 5, 7 tour books.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I remember watching one episode at one point. You were like, I'm gonna count all the solo records. And I'm gonna count all of the.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
Your top 540 records or whatever.
Yeah.
All the Kiss albums are 1.
It's difficult, man.
Except Peter Criss.
Yeah, except Peter.
All right,
Okay.
who's going first?
You want me to go?
You want to flip coins?
No, I'll go.
All right, go.
Joe goes first.
So this is a tough one. So for me, it was between one other, we're going to call it modern era tour book, and so there were 2 modern era tour books, and this is the one that won out. I think probably from a nostalgia standpoint for me, because this was like right in my wheelhouse of when I was huge into the band, and I'm going to go with number 5, the Hot in the Shade tour book.
That's a good tour book.
It is. It is. It's the second one that was massively oversized, right? I remember. I remember getting the Crazy Nights tour book at the show, and just like everybody, they almost all have a crease here, right? Because they don't have the sort of the weight or the substance to stand up on their own. So they almost all have, any of these oversized ones have that crease. And I just remember always thinking, what am I going to do with this thing during the show? Because of course you run into the merch booth, you buy the tour book and whatever else you're going to get, and you're like, I'm stuck with this thing now for the whole rest of the show. So I'm going to go with number 5 on my list is Hot in the Shade. I don't know if you want me to quickly kind of run through it, but we talk about Alive 2 and how glorious that gatefold is. But look at that thing. I mean, that's crazy. I remember seeing that show and just being blown away at the Sphinx backdrop and it going away and the Kiss logo coming up. And man, what a show! And when the band was firing on all cylinders, I think they were kind of at the peak of their powers at that moment, coming back around full circle again, like they had hit again at the top of their game. And so I'm going to go number 5, Hot in the Shade.
I was third row dead center for that tour in Nashville, and it was my first Kiss show post my first one, which was Creatures, which I don't remember hardly any of.
Yeah.
And I, for some reason, didn't see them any after Creatures, and I saw them third row center in Nashville, and was just, Paul Stanley looked like he was fucking 30 feet tall, man.
Yeah.
It was, in that stage, was incredible.
The mouth opens up and the laser. I mean, just to give you the scope of, if you didn't see the show, the scope of it, the mouth opens up and the lasers fire out and the guys walk out of the mouth. This thing was massively huge. It was it was an incredible feat. Technologically, even, you got to wonder back then what kind of a feat it was to move that thing and to get it to work every night and have it, blow apart the way that it did. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It was awesome. I loved it. Okay.
I'm trying to remember whether we had the lasers, but when they brought that to Australia for the World Tour 94-95, their first tour in 15 years, they brought Leon down because obviously we've discussed before they couldn't use the Statue of Liberty flipping us all off. It just doesn't work.
As much as we wanted to.
Exactly. Fuck you, rest of the world. Yeah, no, that wouldn't play in the overseas markets too well. So they brought Leon down, and I remember it was a huge at the Sydney Entertainment Centre. But I don't remember the lasers, but that doesn't mean there wasn't lasers coming out of it. I'm trying to remember. Someone will probably have video of that show and see how it actually worked. They may not. It may not have operated the same way. It may have just been a static thing. I can't remember actually. It's so long ago. But it was the size impressed me.
You think it's expensive to ship a book from Australia, Nicholas?
Yeah.
Try sending an arena-sized Sphinx.
Sphinx, exactly. Yeah.
Oddly enough, only 10 more Australian dollars to do that than it was to ship the book.
Yeah.
It's
I
crazy.
don't know how that.
Yeah. Once it goes over £5, it's the same as 5 million pounds in weight. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Yes.
All right. You want me to go next?
Do it.
Yep.
Okay. I'm not going to go in order.
You're not.
No, I'm not going to. Should we go in order? Are you going in order?
Go in
Nicholas?
order. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm just going randomly.
Okay. I thought we played it by 5, 4.
Oh no, sorry. Okay. Oh, sorry. You mean in order of 5, not in order of when they're released.
Right.
No.
In order of 5, 4,
You're top
3,
five.
2, 1. Yeah.
Hang on.
Okay. Well, let me do that. I was gonna save this one to show last because it's kind of like it's my sleeper tour book, and I was like, and I'm finally, but all right. So I'm gonna put this one in at number 5 just because of its age, even though I think this is one of the most well put together tour books they've ever done. I'm going to vote for the End of the Road tour book. What, you don't like it? What is wrong with this tour book?
Tumbleweed.
That's good.
It's more than good. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's
man.
nice. The foil printing is nice.
The foil printing is incredible, and it's got, the whole history of the band, and there is just pages after pages of killer stuff to look at. I really think, I don't know, I love this tour book. I love flipping through it and looking at all the stuff. I don't know, I think this is a gorgeous tour book. So great shots of the band.
And there's a couple of versions of that, right? There was the version that came out on the early, very early shows, and then they inserted some live shots.
Correct.
So is that an America's Got Talent shot up front, Jason? The very, very opening, that shot that you were just showing, is that where's that? Is that, I think,
or is that Vegas?
Is it?
No, it's not Vegas.
I don't know.
It may be America's Got Talent. I don't know.
I think that's what that was.
Yeah.
Or did they? Or they were? Oh, they were on James Corden too. They were on a couple of shows really early on when they were sort of, they were announcing the tour and that was going to be it. So
because this looks like Gene's. It's hard. This almost looks like his first version of his costume. That's more of like a crushed look. I don't know, but
yeah.
I don't know.
In any event, I think here's what I'll say of the tour books that have come out, sort of in this modern era. I think it's the best produced one. How's that?
Yes, I do.
I feel like it's awfully busy. There's just so much going on in there.
But there is, but I don't know, man. I think when you're trying to cover 45 years and it not be this thick, I mean, you almost have to be busy, to include so much stuff. I like it. I enjoy flipping through it, and there's a lot of new things to discover, and I think it's well done. I enjoy it. So anyway, that's my number.
I felt like they did a good job of getting away from the sameness that many of the tour books in this sort of modern era had. They've gotten all the same kind of feel,
right?
Group shots, backstage shots, individual individual person sections. Back to a live shot, and then thank you to the road crew and the tour book. They all kind of had that same kind of rhythm, and I felt like that one had more to it, and I thought it was cool. And I thought the printing was killer. I think that foil is amazing. It feels like a substantial book, so.
I agree.
Yeah. All right.
Although one thing I do know about that cover is, because I've got all mine, and I'll show you here, all the way my tour books are laid out, and obviously that's the final one sitting at the front. Something about that paper starts to curve open when
Does
it's
it?
sitting there front, you'd have to have something. If something's sitting on
Oh,
it, keeping
yeah.
it flat, it's fine. But it actually starts to.
I wonder if it's that
That's-
foil paper wants to do something
I don't
different.
know.
You know?
It wants to sort of come. It almost starts to curve forward.
Look at that.
Yeah, there's a weird bend in it that I've noticed. Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Mm.
Yeah,
So if
you're
you
right.
just read it bent back the other way, you kind of
Contort yourself to get even with the book. Yeah.
Oh, this looks perfect. Yeah.
All right.
Which is my first one. I've got a few surprises, ones that you probably wouldn't think that I would pick, but this is just purely because I like it, and I don't know why I like it. And I think I like it 'cause it's a bit harder to find. It was the Hottest Show on Earth 2010. Now this was pretty much just a reprint of the Sonic Boom over Europe. I think it is the exact same tour book with a new cover, but they use the silver nicely in there. It's all these. I don't know if you can see, but it's all It's all embossed too, so it's got a nice texture to it. So it actually feels a bit. It's a mildly three-dimensional, and I know it probably does follow that formula that Joe mentioned of, especially the inside of member page and a bit of blurb at the front. But I think I only chose this for the cover, and I like this one. So
I love it, and it's super rare.
It's super rare, and I like it. Yeah, it's big too. Although anything's big next to me, so yeah, it's probably tiny. It's tiny to Jason, but really to me. I think it's a really nice cover. Like out of all the modern ones, the Sonic Booms and that, I think this one looks the best. Anyway, so yeah, I picked that one. That's my number 5.
Right.
Yeah,
I love that one. All right, Joe, you're number 4.
Oh, see, this is the big decision for me because I think the rest are kind of easy for me. So I am going to go with. Oh boy.
Yeah, I thought you had them in order already.
You
had
remember
7. I forgot.
I had 7, right? So I think I'm going to take the wind out of Nicholas's sails here, and I'm going to do this one.
Ah.
So I'm going to say this is number 4, Revenge Tour Book. Super hard to, I shouldn't say super hard to find. It's mildly difficult to find at a decent price. How's that? You could probably go on eBay and find a couple now, but they've really gone up in price. It was a tough tour book to find back in the day. There weren't many printed, not many dates, right? So for me, I'd say that's number 4, just because more from a collectability standpoint and a modern tour book standpoint, it's probably the most sought after modern era-ish tour book.
Yeah. So all right, I'll go number 4. I have to narrow my 7 down.
That's right. I thought you had them in order, Jason.
What 2 do I want to take out?
Yeah, see, that's where it gets tough.
Oh, shish kebab. Crap. Okay, number 4, I'm going to go with... I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with Dynasty. I'm on number 4, right?
For number 4.
Yeah, because everybody that comments on this is going to say Alive, Rock and Roll Over, Alive 2, Dynasty. Those are the ones you have to have. Everybody, especially all of the 70s fans. So,
yeah.
I mean, those are the tour books, man, that people notice. They may not be the best as far as how they're put together or whatever, but there's just something about these early tour books. So
which version do you have?
I have that version.
The later version, yeah.
The later version, yeah.
Live shots, yeah.
And that's the thing. There's a bunch of those variants that I'm missing. A whole bunch of them. So that should probably be my next.
Yeah.
Next to goal.
Yeah. Which one do you have? Oh, you've got the earlier.
Yeah. So I've got the earlier one that opens up with the studio, kind of the live studio shot, and then pinball Is your first page have pinball ad as well, Jason?
No. The first
Okay,
page on
goes,
mine
goes right into Gene.
are the live shots.
Yep.
Pinball is next.
Yep, got it. Okay, so
and
then mine goes right into Gene.
Just to show the people at home your Gene page, Jason, so you can compare them at the same time, and they can really see what you're talking about. So
No.
There's Gene.
Go to your Gene page. Yeah. There you go.
So just so the people at home can see the two, so you can really see the difference in the amount of photos there.
Different photos.
Yeah, cool. And then they flip the ad. There's a third version where the ad's different. It's either Paul's amp ad or there's the Gene Sun ad. So yours is Gene.
Yep, and then mine has the Paul amp, the Paul guitar.
Ibanez.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, there's some cool variants to go chasing after on Dynasty. At least 3 if you don't count the Return of Kiss, right?
So
yeah, exactly.
Look at the condition on this one. I mean, this
ooh, that's a beauty.
Yeah, it's in crazy good condition, and that's the one that you were just showing, Jason. It's the later version. This one has
this is way nicer than mine.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, so mine has the
Gene as well.
Yeah, the Gene as well. Yeah, but yeah, so this was one that I looked for again, looking for condition. I mean, the thing, it feels like it's almost
because you haven't got all those little bends along the spine there.
Yeah, you get all those tick marks typically. So this one, what's that?
It looks like it just came right off of the merch shelf.
Yeah. So now this one, on the other hand, is beat. But the story behind this is my uncle is a stagehand roadie here, local in Detroit, and I was begging my parents to go to this show, and they wouldn't let me go. So my uncle brought back from the show this very exact tour book and one of the sponges that fell from the ceiling at the end of the show. So I've got those, and he got me guitar picks at every show that he worked, Kiss shows. So I've got like the Vinnie Creatures and the Dynasty picks and all that stuff that he gave me and the backstage passes that they wore on their uniforms or wore on their shirts as they were working. Right. So that's the awesome. That's the actual one that I had as a little kid, and I just spent countless hours reading these descriptions, looking at these images, and it was one of the very early things that sucked me into the band even further.
It's awesome.
So there it is.
Yeah, and that's not even one of your picks.
It is. It was number 3. It was my next. It was my next one.
Well, you went ahead.
Nicholas, but you were number 4, and you tread on me. So there you
go. Number 4. I went. I've got another modern era one for my number 4 because I'm sort of looking at the. I'm not. Obviously, you can go just all the. You can say that your essential collection must have all the original, tour the or coin stuff. But I thought I'd sort of, if you're a full tour book collector of all eras, one of the ones you've got to have is, as you know, the tour of Australia. But then the other variant being the New Zealand version, where they added New Zealand and they changed a lot of the graphics in there as well. They changed some of it, but not all of it. So.
Jason, right here you have to insert the Statue of Liberty giving Australia and New Zealand the middle finger.
That wasn't this tour, but anyway.
Show those individually one at a time, Nicholas, because it'll get cropped. So
I'll pop them up on screen right now, so you can, while I'm talking, you can have a look at them. I'll do a few comparison ones, so that rather than me trying to show up to screen, but looking at the moment, one of the main things that happens throughout the book is in the Australian version, you have little kind of boomerang kind of motif sort of like stenciled over the paper, and then you have in the New Zealand one, they've replaced it with the New Zealand fern leaf, but because it's still an Australian New Zealand tour book, they still keep the Australian flag in a lot of places. They haven't. A little flag lesson we'll do right now. I'll show you Australian flag and New Zealand flag. They're very similar. It's got red dots in the stars anyway. So there's not big difference between our flags. But one of the nice things about this tour book as well, like the Japan one that came out, is you can probably see in the reflection in the window here just how super glossy these pages are. This is a high-end, beautiful print job. I absolutely love the print job on the Australian tour books and the Japan one that came out around the same time. It's this lovely paper, almost like super photographic paper, probably one of the best. So I'd say any collection, if you're going to go across the whole gamut, I would put a vote in for the New Zealand Australian variant.
I
of this
almost picked it. It's sitting right here. I almost picked it. So
And one of them is fairly rare too, right? Are they both rare?
Yeah,
Or what?
the New Zealand is rare because they would have sold it. They would have. Okay, I'll just tell you right now.
they
So
played
it was
one show. They printed
1,
that
2,
for
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shows for Australia and 1 show for New Zealand.
So they printed
Yeah,
an
look,
entire tour book for one
Look,
show.
there's a weird one. And I don't know how Canadians would feel if they received a tour book that said US tour book, or whether they'd want to. I think they would probably, knowing that they were going to Canada, to print the North American. But, if you're in New Zealand, you go, why am I buying Australian tour book? Like they're probably sick of the whole Australian. We stole Russell Crowe, and you can have him back, guys, if you want. But like there's been a whole thing of Australia, New Zealand things of they're like the little brother to us, like Canada are to America, and I'm sure they would be thinking, well, we might even it may have been a cheap print run to have actually make sure that they actually sold on the New Zealand dates.
So this begs the question: if they did it for one show and that show is in New Zealand, why did they put Australia and New Zealand on that cover?
I suppose because they've got the tour dates at the back, and you just have one tour date.
Because
they've got listed the whole lot on there. And actually, in fact, let me just check. There's the Australian one. Yeah, well, the Australian one is identical. It mentions New Zealand as well. So
strange.
Yeah. It's weird that they kept milking the 40, because I think the Kiss Monster Tour book had the Kiss 40 logo on it, and then they came back 3 years later for the 40th anniversary tour of Australia. But then you can't go, but it's not been 40 years since you played Australia. Like they're just sticking all 40.
It's all screwed up.
Yeah.
40 years has no meaning anymore. Yeah, they were on the 40th anniversary tour for 12 years, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's my vote for number 4.
All right. So Joe's number 3 was Dynasty.
Was
right?
Dynasty, yeah.
All right. Yeah. So my number 3, or my top 3.
Here's where he'd talk about it if he hadn't already talked about it.
That's right. So my top 3 are really just, I don't know, they're important tour books to me for certain reasons. So for number 3, Joe's already showed it, but I'm going to go Revenge. The only tour book that does not feature the Kiss logo.
You got a sticker on yours.
Oh, yeah. From wherever I bought it from,
okay.
had a sticker on it. So, but anyway, this is the third of the oversized tour books. And, I just loved this tour. This was still remains my favorite Kiss tour as far as the sound of the band. It just, I don't know, they were raw and dirty, and
they come full circle, right? They're kind of gritty and dirty and dangerous a little bit again, and they actually looked cool, I think, out of makeup for one of the rare times, I think,
one
maybe
of the rare
ever.
times. And I just loved the fire that Eric Singer interjected into them at the time, and then of course really with starting with Hot in the Shade, going back to the classic set songs in the set list, but really digging deep into Hotter Than Hell and stuff on this tour. I just love this era. It was my favorite show of all the shows I've ever seen. It was the favorite show I've ever seen, and so anyway, this will be my number 3, Revenge.
Yeah, the tour was super kind of dirty and dark and heavy. They turned those songs got heavier, and it was cool.
Yep.
Cool. All right.
My number 3.
Your number 3.
My number 3. I don't know if it's been covered in this episode yet, but it's called Revenge.
because Nicholas isn't paying attention. Unlike you guys, my number 3 is Revenge.
Yes, exactly. I don't have much more to add to that other than I think it's cool that it's the only book that doesn't need to have the Kiss logo on it as well, which is very odd for the band to have passed that through without a Kiss logo. Again, I love the site, much like the like the Hot in the Shade and the Crazy Nights. This one would have been a real bastard to have it at the on the concert. But yeah, mine obviously hasn't because it's a nice copy. So yeah, love that one. Number 3.
Number 3. All right.
Number 3.
Those are the 3 oversized, right? Am I forgetting any
Yep.
of
Those
the
are the 3.
massively oversized?
You're not
Yeah.
forgetting any. Nope.
Yeah.
That being Crazy Nights, which we haven't shown yet. I don't know if any of us will. Crazy Nights, Hot in the Shade, and Revenge.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. You're up. Number 2.
Oh, boy. What do I do? All right, I'm going on tour.
Another great
What's that?
quality. Another great quality one.
Yeah, it's in really pretty good shape. It's got we can kind of go through it real quick. The reason why I picked this in retrospect, kind of going back, some of those early books didn't have many photos in them. You know, it was like just one page, and it was just one photo per page. This one got you got extra photos. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a good version, kind of a little bit of a throwback to the 76 on tour book. But you get multiple photos of Ace here. I don't know. I thought this one was of the original books, one of the standouts for me. So
now does yours have the merchandise sheet in it?
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the rock and roll over version, I'm pretty sure. If you haven't got rock and roll over stuff, it is the rock and roll over version.
It's got the iron on. So let me show that here.
Yeah.
This is massive Kiss iron on, and then in the back it's got the merch sheet. Let's see. Kiss Army wants you $5 a year. Could you imagine the stampede now? So yeah, it's interesting too, right? It's this huge, oversized order form. Yeah, it's pretty funny. For that.
Now, do you have the Destroyer version?
I do not.
Okay.
No.
I don't. No, I don't believe that I do. But yeah, this is the rock and roll over, so you can see it's got the stuff there. So
yep,
there
and
you go.
all the photos of Paul have been changed. Well, almost all the photos of Paul. That's the main difference with the pictures as well. When the Destroying Rock and Roll Over.
And Rock and Roll Over on the discography page as well. So that's it for me.
Okay.
Number 3, right? Was that number 3?
Nope. Number 2.
There's number 2.
That was number 2?
That was number 2.
Yeah. You went first.
Yeah,
Dynasty.
I screwed up then. Edit her out.
I'm not editing it. I'm leaving it all in.
Edit her out, because this would be number 2 for me then.
Fucker.
Did I just step on you? I stepped on you, didn't I? So the 10th anniversary.
We can edit that bit out.
Yeah, whatever I don't know. I just think there's something so cool about this book. Again, probably the most valuable tour book, would you say? Outside of the obvious.
I think it's a toss-up.
Between this and Revenge?
That and Alive.
Really?
I'm Mint Alive with the yellow thing in there.
Yeah.
Would possibly
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
But this one,
a Mint Alive complete with the insert is a $500 tour book.
Yeah.
These that days, is not a $500 tour book.
Look at the condition on this one is really good. It's got a little ding there, but overall, I mean, this one's in just stunning shape. I got this at one of the Kiss conventions in Jersey. So yeah, the 10th anniversary. I thought this one was it's an odd book, this, because they do kind of the retrospective of the band,
right? And
they include photos which they just would never. Well, I mean, I guess they have done it a little bit, but they really give some time to former members. They give Ace a whole spread. It's not just like a look back kind of a thing. I mean, they treat him as a full member. And Peter as well. They give him a full spread as well again, and he's been out of the band for a little while at this point. It's just interesting that they're giving them as much credit and due in this book as
I wonder if
they
they thought Ace was coming back, or left the door open so he could come back, and therefore you've got him you're giving him a full page, and then by that very nature, you have to then put Peter in.
Yeah.
To cover it off. It's a very odd thing to do, to give Peter Ace. I get, because at least Ace promoted that tour, before he left, or promoted the album before he left the tour in Europe. But to give Peter a whole spread after leaving is a bit odd.
Yeah, it's very strange.
It's the 10th anniversary tour book. I mean, give him a something. So.
Yeah.
So that was your number 2.
Number 2, yeah.
I don't know if we can add it because
2A and 2B. So there you go.
So
my top 5, 6 tour books.
Yeah, that's right. It's top 5, 6. So since Joe stole my thunder, that is also my number 2. Mine has some scribbling on it, but yeah, so it's signed by Vinny and Ace and Gene.
Jason, were we together when you got that one signed?
We were.
Was Vinny? That was the Atlanta.
Yeah, this
big
is Atlanta.
Return of Vinny.
Yep. This is Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and then Gene was at the Vault, and Ace. I don't know. Might have been the last time I saw Ace. Not 100% sure, but yeah, I absolutely love this tour book. It's in my I think it's an incredible tour book with just everything that's on the inside and the 10th anniversary and just Creatures itself. But then, as far as I love that shot.
Just the quality of that shot, just in general, is just so killer.
Yep.
Amazingly
But then
done.
There's also my personal reason that it has to be in there. This was the first time I saw the band. My dad took me to see them. My first concert. Just my favorite album in the catalog. I just love it. So, Creatures, number 2.
And with all that being said, it's my number 2 favorite tour book.
Well, it's not favorite. It's essential. Remember, it's
yeah.
essential.
Yeah.
So, all right, number 2, Nicholas.
Well, one of the things that's happened now is it just means I can eat dinner earlier, because my number 2 is the Creatures tour book. So,
our number ones are going to be the same?
They may be the same. Yeah, I don't know.
Since you guys haven't covered this, it's the Creatures of the Night tour book.
Yes, exactly. Now, I was just wondering, to people who know a bit more about this, did Vinny actually play with the violin bow live on that tour?
Yes.
He did? Okay,
yes.
Cool. I was just noticing the photos in here.
In his solo, yes, it's his solo.
Yeah. No, I haven't got much more to add other than the erroneous. The roundup pages are all 1 year off. So Dynasty is 1978, The Elders 1980. Yeah, Unmasked is 1979. Yeah, they're all off by 1 year. Whoever put this together.
The attention to detail.
Yeah, the attention to detail in those days. Yeah. So yeah, that's number 2.
Number 2.
It's a lot of fun going on.
Shall we all show our number 1 at the same time?
Let's just show them all at the same time. Ready?
Yeah, exactly.
1, 2, 3.
3.
Go.
Sorry. What are we talking about? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
All right.
It is number 1.
Yours is nice. Mine is in shitty condition. So.
Inserts? Everybody have the inserts?
I do have the insert.
I don't have the
Nicholas is the loser.
But mine's in shitty condition. So the inside of it is pretty good, and the inserts are intact, which is good. But look at the front cover of this.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Yeah, so there's the insert in mine. Here's the condition on mine. It's pretty all right. I mean, it's got this
That's
deal
pretty
here.
good too.
Yeah, not too bad.
Too bad.
It's not mint by any stretch, but it's not been dragged behind a truck like Jason's. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yours is a bit more beat up, isn't it? But there's something about this one, and I'll tell you what, you can't really see it on screen, but for anyone who else has got it at home, is this one really feels like from another era. The cover photo is not perfectly sharp. It's kind of like it looks from some dawn of some other time. It's like out of focus, and just even opening up to have this kind of thing that concert program.
Yeah, I love
that. It feels like a theater. Like you'd probably actually see that in probably going back to Queen, we were mentioning earlier in our discussion, but you know, A Night at the Opera, A Day at the Races, I'm sure their tour books are sort of laid out a little bit like that. There's something, the Kiss experience, and once again, I read this out in the last tour books thing we did, but I'll read it out again. Just an odd opening.
I know. I was just reading it. It's funny.
It's just the Kiss experience. Kiss is total sensuality, thundering rock, intense vibration, and soaring freedom. Well, very modern. Penetrating energy and exploding emotion stimulate every nerve to unequaled heights. Thanks, Sean Delaney, for for all the double entendre in that one there. It's absolutely fantastic. I love that. There's something ridiculous about that one, but it's great.
Here's what's funny. Concert program, asterisk, right?
Yeah.
And then at the bottom, program may vary. And us as modern Kiss fans, we'd be like, no, it won't. Right? It's going to be exactly what we all know it's going to be, you know?
There was the faked variant. I don't know if, Joe, you heard about the faked variant that went around probably about 10 years ago, where a few sites listed it was said someone had photoshopped the pictures. Kiss on Tour didn't have 1976. And in this era,
I remember that
area there, they had put Destroyer in, suggesting that Destroyer had come out and it was a later printing. But it turned out that that actually doesn't exist, and that somebody had faked it and tried to suggest. I don't know for what bonus, but they were trying to say it was a rare variant anyway.
These are just the photos in this one are just stunning. Maybe not the quality, but just the actual photos. I mean, there's this great shot. You're looking sort of like through Paul at Ace. I mean, that just very artfully shot. Really cool stuff.
Yeah.
The lighting,
even
the lighting.
That's
it's
fantastic.
So
Just almost like a blur. A shot like that probably wouldn't make it into a modern tour book, but there's something magic about that. I think that's probably why we've all picked that as number one. I don't think we've picked it as number one just because it's the first. I think we've picked it as number one because it's actually a great tour book as well.
Oh, well, I mean, I think it's a myriad of reasons. It's absolutely a great tour book. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely one of the earliest collectibles there is. They're hard as hell to find, especially in great condition. Mm-hmm. And it's the first. It's all of those reasons, it absolutely makes it necessary.
Gene, I love I don't know if we can catch that on screen there, but the fake blood sort of laid in there, the painted in kind of fake blood.
I never noticed that before, actually.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's just hilarious how, if you take a close look, it's just, horribly painted in.
You've ruined it now. Oh, it is too.
Damn it, that's it. I'm no longer a Kiss fan. I'm out.
It's not even...
Yeah,
that's terrible. It's like a magenta splotch on screen.
Yep. Yeah.
That's great.
Have you ever noticed that, Jason? Yeah. Cool.
Okay. All right. So we clearly agree on 1 and 2, so that's easy enough.
And Dynasty, I guess. Nicholas, was Dynasty in your...
Dynasty
was not in your group. Okay.
Revenge was all on ours, but Nicholas and I had it at 3, and I think you had it at 4. Mm-hmm. So really, we just have to decide on the final 2.
Mm-hmm.
Nicholas had a couple of new ones. I had The End of the Road. You had Hot in the Shade. So we need to figure out where we're going to put those. We probably should put Dynasty in there, don't you think, Nicholas, since Joe and I both had it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So
I think I'd like to see the Hot in the Shade one in there somewhere. Maybe even that drops down to number 5, possibly.
Well, if we're going to go with Hot in the Shade, it'll be Hot in the Shade 5, Dynasty 4, Revenge 3, Creatures 2, and Alive number 1. Are we good with that order?
I'm happy with that.
No, I'm going to argue about it. I'm going to argue about it for a while.
I think when I was going through the Kiss room, I was going to pick out all those early ones, and I was actually just wanting to have something different to talk about, so we weren't all pulling out the exact same book. So I thought I'd pull out a few. little extra ones to see if they could sneak in there. But
well, as soon as we talked about this, I knew immediately Revenge, Creatures, and Alive were the three that I wanted up top. It was just deciding on the other two, and so that's I wanted a modern one, and I wanted another vintage one, and that's why I chose End of the Road and Dynasty. So because Dynasty is probably my favorite of those vintage ones taken out alive. So
got it. So do we are we at our list? I think I've got it written down.
If you agree,
I think I'm good. If you guys are good, I'm not going to fight you on it. So number 5, we've got Hot in the Shade, the oversized tour book from that tour. Then we've got Dynasty and all of its permutations and live shots and early versions. We've got Revenge, oddly enough, another one of the oversized, more modern versions at number 3. Number 2, we've got Creatures, right? We're going with Creatures number 2. And then the On Tour first tour book is the number 1 pick, our consensus pick for number 1 most essential tour book.
Yeah. And I think you probably give honourable mentions to some of those newer ones, like we sort of had the End of the Road, we had the Australian one, we didn't show the Japanese one, but the printing quality is amazing, and even that cover on that other one, I think some of the, you may not like the graphic design as much, but some of the they've certainly come a long way in printing quality. So the books that you're getting now, they probably don't have that lovely, beautiful nostalgia feeling that we get when we look at these old ones. But they're certainly up their game in terms of quality and printing quality. So I'd say an honourable mention to a lovely spread of sort of new stuff. Not any one in particular.
Yeah, I agree. I think if I had to go a 5A or a 6, I think it would probably be the End of the Road. If we were going to say, okay, we need one modern one to round it out, the 5A for me would probably be the End of the Road, because it covers all the eras and it's super nicely, designed and printed. All of it. It's a nice, substantial book. So that's I think that's the one where I'd land on that one.
Okay. All right. So wherever you're watching this, YouTube or in the Facebook groups or wherever, please comment below and list your 5 essential Kiss tour books that you think everyone needs to have in their collection.
I'd like to see if anyone out there, this will be a challenge to anyone, if anyone picks any of the Animalize, Asylum, Lick It Up kind of ones, because they're the ones that we sort of all skipped over. They're quite small, so perhaps they're the kind of ones, not so much the first. The original Lick It Up European one is the same size as Creatures. It's been redone, but all the others are quite small. So there'd probably be ones you'd go into the Kiss room and sort of in your collection and go, I'll just skip past that. There's some nice 1980s design and 1980s costumes in there. So if it was one tour books that amused me most, I'm sure I would have, if that was the topic, it'd be Crazy Nights with all those pictures of ladies.
Crazy Nights is completely over the top. It's insane.
It's like ridiculous. Yeah. And then Asylum is absolutely hilarious. That's one of my funniest tour books. Like every page is just, whoa, where did this come from? And then Animalize, the Bruce and the Mark St. John versions are great, how they literally went through every shot and redid it, but tried to restage it the same way. Even the inner spreads, let's go blue background again and reshoot this, and with Bruce, so they've really tried to erase Mark out of the picture.
I would love to know what the photo budget was on the Crazy Nights. That how many
more than a stage budget?
Yeah. I mean, how many hours of setup was there, and makeup and lighting and just all that damn near a movie set for click, and
yeah, exactly, because they're not
great cut print.
they're not in real rooms, are they? Like, it's like a sort of a fake sort of Days of Our Lives sort of nurses set and, and the jail and everything like that. Yeah.
Paul's laying on the bed and you see the set behind him just go away.
The jail moves in.
Guy smoking a cigarette as he's pushing the set. Yeah, over the top. If you haven't seen it, you have to check that tour book out. It's crazy.
Yeah. Joe, I'm curious. You said you had 7. What was your 7th one?
The World Tour 1980-81 book.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
This one?
That's the one.
That was mine
Which
too.
version do you have?
Yeah.
I have
Which
both.
version do you have?
I have both.
Oh, I don't have the Aussie one.
I have
I need that one.
Yeah.
Europe and Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it, man. So look here.
The
You go,
Aussie
Nicholas.
one's getting
Attack of the
expensive,
Phantom. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the little
Yeah, I have the
insert
Attack
for
of the
one.
Phantom.
For one, it's a strange one. It's a European tour book with an insert for one singular Lancashire show.
Yeah.
Showing of Kiss Phantoms.
Yeah.
And this is funny too. Look at this. Just like, I give up. I don't know. We have no other photos to put in here, guys. Let's just call it.
Hilarious.
Very funny.
Hilarious. But yeah, I love this tour book, and boy, the clear. You will never be able to see it, but the clear mess that they've made of Eric's makeup, trying to.
And you've got both versions, Jason. So we pointed this out in the book Hottest Brand. Is they redid that twice, and Eric Carr talked about that. The makeup job on both of them are totally different. They redid it because they weren't happy with it, and then they made an almost worse job the second time for the Australian tour. Yeah. They're different, yeah.
Yeah, they are different. I've never really noticed that.
Yeah. Oh, one final thing on tour books is our friend and former co-host Andrew Scambatti revealed another variant that no one had really mentioned before or talked about, was the Rock the Nation. I think it was Rock the Nation has another variant, the variant is the back cover and has the Kiss World. The Australian version has advertising that failed store in Melbourne, Kiss World, where it was going to be a merchandise store. They put it out some boondocks that no one would ever go to, and it went bankrupt before it opened. But it's actually got the little thing, and I'll speak to Andrew, and he'll give us the photos to show up. So yeah, early in this week we found a variant which we didn't know existed before.
Awesome.
Or not that no one
didn't realize existed.
Yeah, there was a lot of people commenting on that one. Oh, I didn't even realize there were two versions of that. So you've got another Rock the Nation to collect if you're into super duper variants.
I definitely would love to get a complete variant collection of the tour books, and there's still quite a few that I'm missing. I have a ton of tour books, but I'm still missing quite a few variants that I would like to get.
I'm getting close. I think I'm down to about 5 left to go. Maybe, although I haven't really been chasing the German logos that much. But,
Which ones? What are you missing?
I'm missing the Australian 1980 Unmasked. I think I'm missing one of the 1977 World Tour 78 ones.
Gotcha.
I think I've got double platinum, but I need
3,
the live.
Right? Or is there 2?
No, apparently there's only 2. Yeah, there was.
Right.
There's never been a Love Gun one. That was another fake thing. Yeah, I think I'm missing a few variants. I can't remember. I think I'm missing. There's an Australian, and it never. I bought one. Somebody said to me, "Here's the Australian Farewell Tour book," and in the end, it was the Australian Farewell. It was the American one with the Eric Singer insert into it. But we've seen versions of it. There's a Japanese version, which I've got. There's an Australian version, so in English, and it says on the difference is on the opening page, it says 1973 to 2001. They've reprinted that instead of 1973 to 2000. So they reprinted it for Japan, they did it for Australia. And as far as we know, that's the only change to the Farewell Tour book. But then I think a lot of American ones were shipped with that insert as well. So I bought one. He said, yeah, this is the Australian one from the Australian tour, and it turned out not to be that version. It's very, very hard to find. It's actually, you'd say it's one of the rarest because you never see that one, but I have seen it online.
That is interesting.
Yeah, so there's a lot of weird variants out there. Yeah.
All right, cool.
What are you missing, Jason?
I'm missing a bunch. It'd be too much to go into. I'm missing them. I'd say I'm probably missing, as far as just variants go, probably 12, 15 different variants.
Okay. A better question for you both, Joe and Jason. If you said the next one that you wanted to get, and they're all available, but you could only buy one, what would you get next? And don't
except
count
for Return of
Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, forget about that one. But yeah.
Well, I mean, to be honest, for the most part, I have most at least one from every tour. I'm pretty much there on that.
Yeah, me too.
So for me, the next thing that I would want to get is a mint copy of the first one.
Yeah,
an upgrade.
Mine too. It's upgrade copies of whatever I have now.
I would much rather upgrade that than find the Asylum variant where the the whatever it is, that color,
a weird printing thing, yeah.
Right, that printing thing is off, or
the inside yellow cutout, I think, on Crazy Nights in one of the letters is missing, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so it's more of an upgrade issue right now. I do want to get those variants, but I would rather have nicer copies of, and mine doesn't have to be super mint. Like, I know Joe likes super mint stuff, but better than what I have for sure. I mean, I would be happy if I had what y'all's look like.
Yeah.
But mine's ratty. So, but I
got some really ratty ones that I got a really ratty lick it up one with the tank is in terrible condition. Oh, not terrible, but it's definitely not looking like Joe's one. So I'd probably upgrade that one eventually. When I come to it, yeah. What about you, Joe? Is there anything you're just into upgrades?
Yeah, I would just be into upgrading. Yeah, especially the early ones. I'm happy with the creatures, and I'm fairly happy with the On Tour book. Yeah, so I mean, honestly, tour books I don't really ever look at them anymore, just because I kind of feel like I sort of have what I want, and unless something fell into my lap, I really wouldn't probably ever be looking for them, to be honest.
Right.
There's plenty of other things to spend money on, so.
Yeah.
No, there's not.
No. I love it all. I love Kiss. I love every record. I love every scintilla of merchandise they put out.
I do not. I've never said that.
I love it all.
But I do love every album, except for Psycho Circus.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. I've had a little bit of, I think you and I have talked a little bit about this, Nicholas. I've had a little bit of an itch lately, too, to maybe be like, maybe I should offload some of this stuff.
It's bizarre to hear that, because I mean, I've had that one moment in my life where I was like, I need to sell some of this stuff off.
Yeah, Nicholas, this is the guy who's actually done it, and he's chastising us.
Well, the issue is I regretted it immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately. I was absolutely not in the right headspace to make that move.
Yeah.
And once I started again, keep in mind, there was probably about a decade where I didn't really collect anything, and I just had very minimal stuff. But once I did start collecting, I was like, I've been missing this all along, like really, really missing it being a part of my life, because it was a part of my life. But it's a little different with you, Nicholas, because it hasn't been a part of your life your whole life. It was a part of my life since I was very, very young, and when I sold it off, I mean, I was nearly in tears when I was loading those boxes into Peter Arquette's van, and I don't know what I was thinking. I should never have done that. And,
did he make you load your own boxes?
No, we were just
I'm taking your Kiss collection and.
Yeah.
It's like in the movies, Nicholas, where the guy is standing there smoking, and the guy he's about to kill is digging his own grave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the things that has driven it as a collector, you always want to keep collecting. I've now got to the stage where I talk with people online and I show them. They go, "What are you missing? I might have something." And I show them my need it list, and they go, "Oh, I don't have that." Or if they have it, that's $3,000, that's $4,000, that's $2,000. So I've got to the point where I've got everything I want, and the remaining stuff on my list is super expensive. And I've got to decide: do I want to pay $2,000 for a stick pin? Do you want to pay $3,000 for a poster? Do you want to pay? They're not attainable. Like, what's left isn't attainable. You'll occasionally get, a rare chance where you'll get it for $300 or $400. But in terms of what's left on my list, it's all super expensive. And so I kind of go, well, okay, am I a collector who is no longer collecting? Have I come to a stop? And so once the chase goes, you go, I've got the room. That looks beautiful. It's a lovely museum. But I'm no longer buying new stuff or trying to attain Kiss collectibles, then does that sort of dulls a little bit of the spark as a collector, if you're a collector that can no longer collect. All you are is a museum curator. so to speak, that never adds any new pieces. That sort of, there's a little bit of the spark that goes, you know.
You're doing
so I
more
suppose
dusting than you are collecting.
Than you are collecting, yeah. So that's kind of where my headspace is at the moment. But I mean, you know, that's what I use these podcasts for, is for live therapy. But that's my way of thinking at the moment. But I could always change. So who knows? Who knows what will happen? And do not all PM me after you watch this with making first for my kids, because I said sometime in the future. I didn't say I'm selling it next week. So
yeah, and I think for me too, like if I were to ever branch out and start collecting something else, it would be the merchandise. But that's it's completely insurmountable. Like
yeah, but with like you, Joe, you're such a curated kind of collector. I think. Well, I mean, you have merchandise. You know, you can just pick. Unlike me and Nicholas, you can just pick those items and say, "This is what I want, and this is all I want."
Yeah.
And once you get those how many ever items, you're not going, "I've got to have everything." You know, where see, it never ends for me. Because, you know, there's still plenty of a coin stuff, but there's still plenty of other, you know, I don't want all modern merchandise, but there are definitely pieces throughout that I think are cool that I would like to own. And of course, you throw in the fact that I'm also a vinyl collector. Nicholas is not, you know, so I don't ever find a time where I'm like, well, I've got everything I want. There's nothing else to buy, you know, or the last 5 items are going to cost me $25,000. You know, there's always a record that I can pick up. You know, there's always an 8-track. There's, you know.
Not to draw this out too much longer, but have you ever had that moment where it feels like a little bit more of a burden than it does having fun?
All the time.
And also, like, what am I doing with all this stuff?
What is this? What are we doing? What in God's name are we doing? What? Our lives. What kind of lives are these? We're like children. We're not men.
No, we're not. We're not men.
So it's like you chase it, you get it from the eBay or Discogs or a record store or whatever, and then you go in the thing, and you're like, next. It's like, what am I doing?
Are we having the equivalent of that moment in Seinfeld where we're on the pier and we suddenly run toward the pigeon?
Yeah, all the pigeons are running out. Yeah, right. I don't know. It's weird to me sometimes. It just feels like I could see getting rid of a lot of this vinyl that is sort of the common stuff, that are some label variations and things like that. But keeping, you know, maybe some of the Argentinian stuff or the really hard to find promos, and getting down to maybe like 50 copies of ultra mint, super high end, crazy stuff, and 50? One copy of all the rest of it, and be done with it.
There's 40 fucking albums in the catalog. How could you get to 50?
Well, you understand what I'm talking about is 50 of the, aside from having one copy of everything in one form or another, having 50 of the super rarest, hardest things to find.
I got you.
And really trying to curate, you know, a really high-end limited collection like that. I could definitely see doing something like that.
Yeah.
Where every record was hundreds of dollars, if not maybe $1,000. You know.
So this is the podcast where where it marks that we all decide to get rid of our shit.
I think we've just broken up.
This is our let it be.
This is just one tier. And that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Good night, everybody. Who knew it was coming to this? That's it.
And this is we won't see you on the next one.
We won't see you on the next one. I'm gonna go drink now. I don't know what you guys are doing, but yeah.
I'm going to bed.
I'm depressed.
Yeah, thanks,
what have I done?
Sorry, I'm down. I'm gonna have a good 4 or 5 years of lying on my Kiss bed and playing with my Kiss toys. And I may decide to keep it all because it may become so much fun. So we'll end it on a positive note that I'm still enjoying it at the moment. So.
I love it, and I'm not getting rid of my shit. That's just, I would have to, it would have to be a situation where like I had to pay the mortgage for the next 6 months or something, and that was the only way it was going to happen. You know,
you die, you go to the pearly gates, and God goes, you spent 11,046 hours on eBay. What were you thinking?
I thought you were going to say $11,000. I was like,
No,
man,
it's like
way
the amount of
more than that.
not just screen time. The screen time just on eBay, 11,000 hours. Yeah, could you imagine? Yeah.
All right, good discussion again, everybody. Post your top 5 essential tour books wherever you're watching this. Hit the like button on YouTube, and thanks for joining us.
And tell us your problems.
Tell us
what
your
problems do you have?
We're here for you.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Exactly. We're here for ourselves.
Yeah, really, we don't care.
All right, gang. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Hi, everybody. It's Gene Simmons, and you're not. This is Kiss My Collectibles podcast. What you do?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the next page?
Well, on the back of that is going to be the same thing that we all have, right? So you're going to have the Kiss.
Okay.
Yeah, the
so,
logo.
So this.
The fan shot. Yep.
What's next?
Yeah.
What's next?
The crowd shot.
I don't have that.
Oh,
you
you don't have the cover.
Yeah.
You don't have the back cover.
It's this.
Oh.
You don't have the back cover.
I don't have that. That back cover is gone. This is my back cover.
How is the front staying on? Barely.
It's taped.
Oh.
This time I'm gonna kick that football clear to the moon. Ah!